So this is actually a difficult video for me to make because if you've watched my channel, if you've watched any of my videos, if you know me in person, you know I'm pretty much anti-politics because I believe that the Democrats and the Republicans, which are the only two parties that we have, are essentially two sides of the same coin. However, as of late, I have become very concerned about the direction in which our country is going and about what is happening in our country. And it seems to me, looking critically at the issue, that the Harris, or rather the Biden Harris administration, has been responsible for what is starting to look like the collapse of our country. Now, I know that many of the people who support me on my YouTube and TikTok platforms are pro Democrat, and that's fine. And I actually welcome your comments because I'm going to keep this short. I've tried to record this a couple times, and there's so many things happening that it just goes on, and I don't want to do a long video. I want to just throw a hypothesis out and have people tell me what they think about it. They agree or disagree. Make sure it's respectful. Because if you call me out of my name or come off disrespectful, I'm blocking you and dropping your comment off of my video. But I always welcome different opinions. So this is not a pro Kamala video. Let's have that disclaimer. At the same time, I will acknowledge that I lived here in America during Trump's first term, and I felt that the climate in America was very anti-Black, very racist. The racists all across the country seemed to be very much more comfortable saying in public the things they previously only said behind closed doors. The people who may have been on the fence about racism seem to come out and feel emboldened in being racist. And it was really uncomfortable. And I really don't want to go through that again. But when I weigh that against the impending collapse of our country, my thing is let's save our country, get it back on stable footing, and then we're going to have to circle back and deal with the racism. And I know there's some concerns about him wanting to be a dictator. We're going to have to circle back and deal with that as well. But if we don't get a handle on what's going on, there may not be any circling back to do. And so just trying to keep it short. I'm already 3 minutes in. There seem to me to be two really big, significant problems. Well, many, but I'm going to focus in this video on two really big, significant problems that are facing America that, in my mind, seem to have been ushered in only during the Biden-Harris administration, which leads me not to want any more of Harris. Number one is the unaffordability of life for many Americans. And I know that I live in a bubble. People like me probably live in a bubble. But I saw a video not too long ago where a Black man came on TikTok after we all saw that receipt that demonstrated to us that illegal immigrants were getting upwards of $10,000 in cash and $4,000 in EBT, which are like food benefits, the ability to buy food. And this man came on TikTok, and his anger and emotion broke through the bubble and made me realize that many of our fellow Americans are struggling just to get by. I've seen the videos about apartments wanting 3 times the highly inflated rents for people to qualify, so people aren't qualifying. I knew that homelessness and living in cars and that sort of thing was increasing, but this man's emotion made me understand that for so many Americans, life is just becoming flat out unaffordable. And he was angry because a lot of times men, and some of us women as well, will express our hurt and other emotions as anger. And he was just outraged that our government will give that level of funding to people who criminally entered our country, because let's be clear, illegally entering into the country is a crime, who have not contributed anything to our society while allowing everyday Americans to suffer. And he said, you're doing this while your people are starving. And he talked about a pack of meat that he wanted to buy to feed his family, to have a family dinner, and that the cost was, it was cost prohibitive, and it was a big sacrifice to buy that. And then I looked in the comments and saw people saying that they're going without food a couple days a week in order to just make ends meet. I mean, I'm a fan of fasting. I'm a Miss Health Coach. I'll fast, but it's by choice. It is not because I cannot afford to buy some food to eat. And that's a problem. And that's something that has happened during the Biden Harris administration. And truthfully, it's not a result of COVID. There were a lot of issues that flowed from COVID, but these exorbitant inflated prices are not are not among them, because during COVID, the prices were not this high. These high prices have come into effect within the last 6 to 9 months, in from what my experience tells me. And that has nothing to do with COVID. So that is issue number one, the unaffordability of life in America, which was not the case under Donald Trump. Really, under it just hasn't been the case. It's a new thing that has been increasingly problematic while Biden and Harris have been in office. And the second thing is the rampant, uncontrolled, overwhelming immigration by illegal, undocumented people from all over the world. They're not just coming from Mexico. They certainly are coming from Venezuela and Mexico and countries in Central and South America, but they're also coming from China and just everywhere to places that people are coming from. And they're coming in droves. They're overwhelming our country. You can see what's happening in Denver, where apartment buildings, complexes have been taken over. You see the rampant crime and theft and just destruction in New York. It's happening in some of the California cities, in Chicago. All the sanctuary cities are overrun. And then on top of it, our government takes resources that should be given to American citizens, to veterans, and it showers them onto these illegal immigrants. And I feel that I heard Trump say something about we're being invaded from within, and it sounded inflammatory. But when I look around at what's happening, that's what it looks like. And the governor in Colorado thinks it's a figment of our imagination. And the powers that be in New York decriminalize theft and other kinds of crime and don't hold anybody in jail and turn them right back out on the street. So it's spreading. And if we don't do something, it'll be coming to a city and a town where we are. It's spreading across America. We all saw all those males coming in by themselves, without wives, without children, just coming in droves across our borders. And again, Donald Trump said that Venezuela was emptying its prisons and sending them to America. And isn't that what we've seen? So I'm almost up to 10 minutes. I gotta cut this. It's a difficult video to make, but it seems like our country is in trouble. And I think that 4 more years of Harris will result in our ruin. What do you think, respectfully?